And so your kind of circle grows and what you're capable of doing grows. And so inspiring that into like, my kids and young folks is like, push yourself, to do these things that you might not think you're even capable of doing. But if you have an interest and you're willing to learn and open your mind to see and kind of self-teach a little bit, then your horizon expands, and then now you're capable of this. And so it's like kind of that constant growth, I think.
Hey, welcome to Voices on the Wind. I am Toby Lyles and my esteemed son,
Maverick Lyles.
We're so happy to have you join us today. We're trying to do something real with this podcast, something significant. We're trying to talk with real entrepreneurs, and Jordan Dean is, epitomizes that. Just started 3 years ago. He is now, however, nationally just running around. Yeah. I'm trying to we were talking about having him hop on the podcast, and he's like, I'm in New Mexico. I'm in, all over all over. And I'm just so proud of what he's doing. Did our water tower here, national award. Won a national award, best in country water tower. So if you haven't seen the Cheyenne, Wyoming water tower that Jordan Dean did, it's beautiful. So good job. Did that with Custom Home Painters, who we've had on this podcast before. And Eric McDonald, the owner of that one. This was a long time coming. So I think you're really going to like this interview. Just to remind you, we do have an email. I write an email every week without fail. Have not forgotten it. So, that's a pretty big win. Yeah. Pretty big win. Hey, we're just telling stories and talking about what we learn. And a lot of people are really getting quite a bit out of that. Some people just read that and don't listen to the podcast, which I don't know how I feel about that.
It's
good. So. Anyway, so that's votw.substack.com, or you can find all the links at 24sound.com, twentyfoursound.com/podcast.
Yes. And if you have not liked and subscribed, you should do that, because we have a lot of really cool content coming. Especially, I've got our season. Well, we're on season 4 now.
This is season 4.
Welcome
to season 4.
Welcome to season 4. I mean, those last episodes, but still in season 4. And so if you have not, we're still going. We still have a lot of really cool content coming out. So yeah, please like and subscribe, and reach out to us on our Facebook and Instagram, or any of our social medias.
Yeah. And with that, here is Jordan Dean.
I've been doing art my whole life, and just as a hobby and for fun. Around my teenage years, I started to get paid for doing projects, which was kind of fun. I think the first one was a guy, he totally ripped me off, but I thought it was great, where he'd give me blueprints of architectural renderings, and then I would do like a watercolor rendition of the building.
Okay, so you're 16 already here.
I think I was like 14 or 15 at the time. Okay. Yeah.
So you're younger, and you're already getting paid for it. Yeah.
So actually in Longmont, Colorado, that's where I grew up, there's a place called the Diagonal Trade Center. And I didn't know how to make logos or anything at the time, but there is a mountain man drawing that I did, and it says Diagonal Trade Center, and it's still there.
Wow.
I don't know what that is 25, 30 years later.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So I was doing some of that, and friends would ask like, hey, can you make a logo for this? And I didn't even know how to use the computer. It was like, I'd draw a watercolor.
So you're, that's, it's incredible to have opportunities as a youth like that.
Yeah.
Just because you must have always been drawing, maybe?
Yeah.
And people just saw that natural gift?
Yeah, I think I was always the guy that was like, well, could you, if it was like the theater department was like, we need Shakespeare's backdrop or like a big tree or something. I was like the guy that they're like, could you do that? And I'd just kind of figure it out.
Are you like sketching all the time?
Yeah.
How did people know you were an artist?
Oh, I guess I every class, my notebooks, the notes were forms of drawings.
Okay.
And I would draw. It was constant. I just drew all the time.
Why did you feel permission to draw all over everything?
I don't know if I ever asked. Actually, sometimes it probably didn't have permission, but it was just, it helped me pay attention, and it kept class entertaining, and kept your mind stimulated, and So I was, always drawing stuff. One of the fun early projects was I think I was 15 or 16. I think I had my mom take me to a local skateboard shop in Longmont, Colorado, and I designed 5 or 6 skateboard decks. And I walked in with just a piece of paper and didn't even know the owner or anything. And I said, I made these skateboard decks. I thought that they would be cool. I'd love to see them printed.
Or you just...
I liked to skateboard a lot.
All right.
Pretty much did that every day.
Natural interaction of a young man's...
Yeah. My passions.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And he actually ended up printing 2 or 3 of them. And they were the shop skateboard decks for like the next 10 years.
Kidding.
And it started a relationship. I worked with him through college, designed merch and like bindings packages and stuff for the store and skateboard decks. And so that, I guess that as we're talking about, a young kid, I'm not crazy about wasting time. And so a lot of time is spent, maybe scrolling through TikTok or playing video games. Not saying that's bad. People have made a great living doing, video games. But that's like a fraction of a percentage of a population. The rest of it is really just a lot of wasted time. And so you got to think like, what could you do in your day to, get smarter or better, or learn a new skill, or like hone a hobby into a craft. And so that was one of them. I just liked art and graphic design, and it opened this door of designing for the skateboard shop in Longmont, Colorado.
So before you walked into Longmont Skateboard Shop, you were doing theater backdrops.
Yeah.
You were getting asked to, this just sounds like logos, just friends. And this is all free work, probably?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was just for fun,
Okay.
I was obsessed with video, too. And so I would take my mom's, back then we had the, tape digital camera, or you had to record and then you'd hit stop. And if you didn't like it, you had to rewind and go back and then...
Oh, yeah. I did the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we would make all kinds of videos. Like I remember we made a war movie, and we had a piece of wood and a rock, and then you'd put dirt on one end, and when you're running, you'd step on this end and it would shoot the dirt in the air. It looked like a bomb that went off behind you.
That's awesome.
So we were getting creative with video, and I remember one day I was sick, and so I just recorded, a bunch of 2-second clips and made a cartoon of like a little skateboard guy. So it's kind of like just excited about, like, man, now if I had the phone that we have now back then, we could have done a lot. But and then I don't know, Vacation Bible School. I grew up going to the church in Longmont, Colorado. It was probably my first murals. They would cover the walls with like butcher paper and say, "Can you paint the scene of David and Goliath?" And so I would just go to town on like, create the landscape for the Vacation Bible School room. So a lot of that was just stuff that was kind of building that I loved, and I didn't know how it would connect the dots to later in life, doing murals at a large scale. But I'd say that was the early steps.
I mean, did you back then? You're just a kid, but did you recognize that this could be
no,
or even feel like it was a gift for you, like something special about you? I
mean, I had heard people would say like, "Oh, you have such talent," or "You have a gift," I kind of think that. I think that everybody has this. I think everybody has this creative trait, and it shows up in different ways in different people's lives. Mine might have been more visual arts, that kind of thing, but some people have music, some people have fashion, architecture, engineering. There's just a way that we problem solve as humans is like this creative gene, that I'm a huge fan. I guess I'm a huge fan of not ignoring it and developing it in everybody. I think it's, something so I worked for a long time at a company called Warehouse 21 in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And I remember one of the gals that had hired, she was like, "Well, I'm not really much of a drawer. Like I can't, she's like, I do design, but I don't really illustrate or draw." And after, working with her for a few years, she kind of developed her own style. And then she had made some paintings, and they were in the Lincoln. And and so it was cool to see how somebody that told me, I'm not really much of an illustrator or drawer, that then developed her own style, I guess.
Yeah, interesting.
And, I think...
we're talking about your story, but if we could just hold for a second on this idea of creativity, because I'm with you. It's part of maybe a personal journey as well as a bit of a passion that everybody does have. Like the words that we say, "I'm not creative," I wouldn't agree with that. So I agree with you. Yeah, everybody has a bit of creativity, and you worked with a gal and it sounds like helped open that up. And I know you're, like you said, visual artist, but do you just want to just go off on how creativity is, and people and how that, I don't know.
Yeah,
What's your
I guess
rant?
the thing you hear a lot is, oh man, I could never do that. I could barely draw a stick figure. Like that's the saying that I've heard, thousands of times in my life. And often it's a self-imposed like ceiling that they're like, well, I can only draw a stick figure. And so I think that breaking through that and realizing that everybody has kind of more potential than what they currently have. It's like I wouldn't have done a water tank mural this summer had I not stepped out of my comfort zone and done the first mural. And, like it was like this uncomfortable feeling, a lot of self-doubt. Am I even capable of doing this? Why am I the one who's up here doing this?
Yeah.
And then once you do it, now you're like, wow, I'm capable of that, And so it's like, well, now what's possible? And so your kind of circle grows and what you're capable of doing grows. And so inspiring that into like, my kids and young folks is like, push yourself, to do these things that you might not think you're even capable of doing. But if you have an interest and you're willing to learn and open your mind to see and kind of self-teach a little bit, then your horizon expands, and then now you're capable of this. And so it's like kind of that constant growth, I think. I'll be a student of life. Oh, this is another good quote. If you love something, you'll never stop trying to figure it out, or something like that. I'm going to butcher that quote. You have to Google
That's
it.
fun though.
But it's like, I feel like that with art especially is I don't ever feel like I've arrived or made it. I feel like there's so much. I feel like I've just scratched the surface, and I'm halfway through life.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought that we're constantly exploring what we almost like a relationship.
Yeah.
Learning these things. That's fun. Well, I appreciate you going there on creativity. It's called the Voices on the Wind podcast, and part of that is that idea that you're catching the ideas, right? And it's a creative thought that if you don't steward that idea, it goes away.
Yeah.
Which helps us build businesses as well. So we're talking about art today, but this is a way to approach life. So that's, thanks for going on my diversion. But it's really good. It's a really good thought. So going back, so you're, we kind of jumped ahead a little bit, and then if we come back to, let's go back to a skateboard shop. That sounds like, was that the first one?
Yeah, that was the first kind of like legit real project, I guess.
Did you know there's going to be money involved in that one?
I mean, yes, you assume, right? Not great. I haven't been great at that part almost historically, is that I often will give myself away more for the opportunity to do it. And then thinking that the next project will pay me.
Yeah.
But yeah, through college, I was able to not get a job, and I started doing stuff for a real estate company and some t-shirts, and kind of put together a mixture of odd, design and art projects.
This is all real estate and t-shirts. These are all art things, correct?
Yeah. So
you're not a realtor at this point.
No, I'm not. I was never a realtor.
Okay.
But my dad got me Adobe Illustrator CS1. So if that dates myself a little bit, I think we're up to like 27 now.
Okay.
So the original one was on a disc that you like put in the computer, and you had the program. And so I got into graphic design at a young age too, and I loved that because there's something about painting, and like painting a mural is, it's like you kind of like build on each step. And going back and undoing is not that easy, right? Like if you're going to undo something, it means you're painting over it.
Yeah, oil paint does not have an eraser.
Yeah. And the computer was like a little bit more iterative. You could go faster, and so you could almost like figure stuff out while you're doing it. And so it could undo, and you could make smaller decisions faster. And so graphic design feels very enjoyable to me in that regard, is that you get to make kind of quick, small decisions, and you can change along the way. And so the process, I think, I know I'm going to end up somewhere here, but you make a bunch of decisions along the way.
So this is like around skateboard time?
This is probably end of high school, starting to go to college. I was playing sports, basketball. I went to college in Oklahoma and played basketball my freshman year, and I was taking classes to be a doctor because art was not a good job.
Yeah. This is
art
like
was like a
classic
hobby,
wisdom.
you know?
Art is a hobby.
Yeah.
But starving artist, right?
Yeah. So after a year of doing that and playing basketball, I actually broke my hand at the end of the season and had to have surgery. And so kind of changed gears and I went undeclared, but I was still drawing in all my notebooks and I was still had, some hobby and design stuff going on. And the art department guys saw one of my notebooks and found me and said, you should join the art department. And it kind of was like, okay, I guess that's a good plan for now.
So art department lead guy, something like that, just stumbles upon a notebook?
Yeah.
It's like I left in the locker room or something?
Left it in a classroom or something. And he tracked me down and said I should join the program.
Well, that says something.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Or he's looking for students.
He's desperate.
Yeah.
Either it's really good or he was really desperate.
Yeah. But that I guess, I think learning art, you can go, there's a couple ways, right? It's like you learn a program, you learn the tutorials, you learn some concepts. Maybe there's color theory or composition. I think some of the exercises still stick with me to this day is like, you have 20 black dots in a white piece of paper, make something interesting. And so it pushed you to like think creatively and a lot of that stuff stuck. But then I moved to Cheyenne and I got hired by a local graphic design shop. So this was Chad Willett, who now owns West Edge Collective. Yeah. And he gave me a chance. And within a year, he merged with Dave Tubner, who owns Warehouse 21. And so I was kind of on the, early stages of those companies. And I learned through them and through the experience of graphic design, for a local marketing firm, that the best way that you learn is you have to have a hunger for it. Like at that point, then I wanted to learn. We'd take on a project like a video project, and I would stay up all night watching tutorials on how to do motion graphics and animate and, all these pieces. And it just built this kind of career of being able to learn how to do these things. And with a background and a passion for art, it was like the projects where I could infuse illustration or custom design, that kind of thing. So it became a little bit less just like, throw something together for marketing. It's like, how do we make something really sing? Which then in turn makes for good marketing.
One of the themes that we've seen a few times, which kind of surprised me, but makes a lot of sense, is that, this is about entrepreneurship because I really care about it. But the jobs are so helpful in making an entrepreneur. Oh, anything else you learned during that season?
Yeah, if you want to get into graphic design and art and stuff, landing that project where someone's going to pay you for it, you kind of have to have a little bit of a background. Like they want to see some past work before they're going to trust you and give you money. And so if you don't have any of that, you kind of have to go out and make it, make it up. Like pick a local company and redesign their logo, redesign their website, there's a blank wall. Draw and make a mural that, you could show to somebody to say, hey, I could put this on there. You kind of have to like make up stuff. Just to say, here's what I could do. You
have to create, but you don't have a purpose because you don't have clients. Nobody's paying.
Yeah.
So you're saying you just have to make your own portfolio of made up.
Which is like that skateboard shop, I walked in, I'd never done anything before, and I walked in with some skateboard decks unpaid, and that ultimately was part of my portfolio to land the design job, years later. And it was, by that time it was legit. I had worked with him for years and I had made a ton of stuff. And so that little bit of ambition, I think it pays off.
Okay. So it sounds like it, honestly, it doesn't sound like ambition was a problem for you. It sounds like you were very interested in art, this whole creative side, video. And so that's not a problem, but it does sound like you got some just experience And I don't know, like I was a man. One time I climbed Pikes Peak with some friends.
Yeah.
And you know, after we climbed Pikes Peak, it just became this analogy of like, you know, you climb Pikes Peak, you can do anything, right?
I love that.
So was it a bit of that, like a bit of a mountain, like, hey, I got to the top of this mountain.
Yes.
I designed these logos for,
Yeah.
you know, well-known brands.
Yeah. I love that too, because I grew up in Colorado and my dad would take us climbing, and I did Long's Peak when I was 9.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So after you climb a 14er, you then go, wow, you know, the rest of life seems kind of easy.
I still remember some of the pain from those moments.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, as we're talking, I became water tank guy this year.
You did, yeah.
And you know, I'd be at the gas station and somebody would be like, hey, you painted that water tank.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, I think this year, I did the first mural I've ever done, which is the big bison behind the Paramount coffee shop in that alley.
Yes.
And before that, I'd only ever made paintings. So the biggest thing I did was maybe a 5-foot tall painting.
Okay.
And that wall is 60 feet tall and 80 feet wide. And so it was a big leap, right? And
crazy, yeah.
Grateful to Cheyenne to give me the opportunity to learn and to do that, you know, as my first one. I feel like I learned so much. So if that was mural 1, mural 2 was, I believe, in Warehouse 21. And I was now dabbling in spray paint, but I couldn't figure out how to get the edges clean. So I outlined everything with just a black paintbrush. So it kind of has this cool tattoo look to it where everything is outlined in black. And then, boy, I don't remember what the third one was, but real quick was the trampoline park. So if you've ever been to the trampoline park in Cheyenne, I used to say that's where I learned to spray paint.
Okay.
And just go in there. You don't even have to jump if you want. Just go in there and say you want to look at the walls. They're a great company. I'm a huge fan of those guys. They, you know, more jumpers at the trampoline park is always needed. But yeah, I learned how to get detail out of spray paint. And it was a super fun, you know, it's like space and robots and aliens and just fun stuff. But this year, I leveled up and I found a new gear in spray painting on how to get detail and the process. And, you know, I think there's probably out there guys that have been doing this for a long time, guys that I look up to, that you see on the internet, these amazing murals. And something clicked this year that I was like, oh, now I know.
Really enjoyed that episode with Jordan Dean. Just has a lot of good thoughts on being an artist, you know, and he's really cool and very inspiring personally, and as an artist myself, and not quite as much as him, but yeah,
there is no competition. An artist is an artist.
Yeah,
that's
artist is an artist. Yeah, so he's really cool. Just then turning his passion into a business. Just a crazy story.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that with Jordan. Hey, if you are not Jordan, thank you so much. I'm ready to move to the next part, but Jordan Dean, thank you so much. That was just a joy. And whenever you want to just, you know, go hang out and just holler, because I was really enjoyed spending time with you. Hey, this is season 4. So we have some really good guests lined up that we cannot release all of them out loud, but there's some really exciting guests that we already have recorded. So this season 4, we're going to be building some things, and we're going to talking to people who are building things. And I just can't wait to see what you're building. Until then, happy sailing.